rid of the FCC.
Censorship was the theme as an estimated 25,000 fans crowded into a Hollywood parking lot to root for radio satirist Howard Stern.
Ah, yes, everything that is old is unfortunately new again. Howard Stern right there famously fought government censorship from the FCC back in the 80s, and he won that battle, which paved the way for a new generation of broadcasters to speak their mind, even if some people don't like it. And ironically, the first ever national TV show to have Howard Stern on was none other than David Letterman back in 1984, and then several more times throughout the 80s and beyond. And fast forward to right now in 2025, David Letterman is still standing up for his fellow comedian talk show hosts, and we have his first public comments about Jimmy Kimmel getting pulled off air after threats from the FCC got Disney to cave and bend over to the Trump regime. And let me tell you, Letterman is not pulling his punches, and neither am I. Plus, I've got a few other unlikely voices defending Kimmel that you've got to hear. So hit subscribe to Really American Media before the mega maggots come after us, which is only a matter of time, especially when the head of the FCC is acting like a mob boss.
Trump's hand-picked FCC chairman went on a podcast and suggested ABC's broadcast license or affiliates could be at risk if they did not suspend or fire Kimmel, essentially issuing an order saying, and I quote him here, "We can do this the easy way or the hard way." Well, hours later, ABC made the announcement Kimmel would indeed be taken off the air indefinitely. And this is just the latest chapter in Donald Trump's ongoing campaign to crack down on free speech, dominate the media, and essentially render the First Amendment meaningless.
Yeah, and let me tell you, as a radio broadcaster for the past 30 years, and as a guy that owned 2 radio stations for the last 10 years, this is not what the FCC is supposed to be doing. They do regulate how radio and TV stations operate, but they do not regulate the content beyond anything that could be deemed obscene. Pulling a broadcast license, it's really serious. That would be like the government shutting down a local hardware store because they don't like the hammers that you're selling. Because if a broadcaster has no license, they're out of business. That's how the media is regulated in authoritarian countries, not in America. And David Letterman spoke at an event last night hosted by The Atlantic, and he did not hesitate at all to weigh in on this topic.
Well, this is misery. And in the world of somebody who is an authoritarian, maybe a dictatorship, sooner or later, everyone is going to be touched. But this is me. For 30 years, I did this for a living. So I see this happen. They took care of Colbert. That was rude. That was inexcusable. The man deserves a great deal of credit. He's in the Hall of Fame 9 times. And to be manipulated like that because the Ellison family didn't want to trouble Donald Trump with this move, so they got rid of him. Not only got rid of him, got rid of the whole franchise. You're not going to have to worry about anything, Larry. It's all gone. It's fine. Good night. And then my good friend Jimmy Kimmel. I feel bad about this because we all see where this is going, correct? It's managed media, and it's no good. It's silly. It's ridiculous, and you can't go around firing somebody because you're fearful or trying to suck up to an authoritarian criminal administration in the Oval Office. That's just not how this works.
Dave, you are both correct and unfortunately incorrect. To say that's not how this works assumes we're in normal times in America, but 49% of this country elected us a king, and this new wave of government censorship from King Trump is unfortunately the new norm, despite Trump signing an executive order banning the government from censoring free speech. That's a true story. And as it turns out, speech is only free in America if King Trump approves of it. And Letterman went on to comment on how that was never a thing under any other presidency.
Started with Jimmy Carter. And
your first show in the Carter era. Okay.
Yes, that's right. And then all the way right up through Barack Obama. And was there one after that I worked for? When did I leave?
Possibly. I don't know personally. When did you, 10 years ago, you said?
Hang on, I got a list. Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George Bush Sr., Bill Clinton, George Bush II, Barack Obama. Yeah.
All right.
And attacked these men mercilessly, never once Well, Jimmy Carter, not so much, because what can you say about Jimmy Carter? He was just a sweet guy. But everybody else, we really went to work on. And I can remember Bill Clinton we really went to work on. And then it was like, whoa, this is a gift. What are we going to do? Bill Clinton, he's out of office after 8 years of Bill Clinton. And then George Bush came along, and it was easy motoring after that. But the point is, beating up on these people, rightly or wrongly, accurately or perhaps inaccurately, in the name of comedy, not once were we squeezed by anyone from any governmental agency, let alone the dreaded FCC.
Well said, Dave. And this is a good time to point out something that a lot of people don't seem to realize. The FCC only has authority over broadcast companies, as in those that broadcast over the public airwaves, like radio and TV, both of which are dying art forms. The FCC cannot regulate cable stations, podcasts, or social media platforms that play videos, like right here on YouTube. But as with all things in the Trump regime, they are trying to reshape what they can control, and they're doing it with mob-like tactics.
The FCC, this guy, Brendan Carr, yes. So this guy, the FCC, is we can do things the easy way, we can do things the hard way. Who is hiring these goons? Mario Puzo? The FCC, we're not happy until you're not happy, for God's sakes. When I was a kid, I was like 20 years old, and I wanted to work at a radio station, so I went to Chicago to the FCC. You take a test, you pass the test, you have your third phone radio broadcasting license. That's what the FCC does. If you're a 50,000 watt clear channel radio station, once a year they'll come and check your dials to make sure you're not broadcasting at 55,000 watts. And God forbid you are, then you get an $8 fine. That is the FCC.
Yeah, spot on again, Dave. Brendan Carr, who was one of the authors of Project 2025, is trying to expand their reach to censor any speech that they don't like, which is obviously antithetical to what the First Amendment protects for all of us. And as you surely know by now, California Governor Gavin Newsom has been irritating Make-A-World by mocking the tweeting style of Trump. But to any MAGA types out there, I would like you to imagine a world, maybe 4 years from now, where Newsom is the president, and instead of sending out these tweets sarcastically, he posts it in all seriousness, like Trump is doing to all of us on the left right now. Newsom said, Fox must suspend garbage Greg Gutfeld ASAP. Not only does he need a fake laugh track, he makes things up, is not funny, and gets so easily triggered, like a snowflake, when Jessica, Just the Facts Tarloff, speaks. Fox should suspend him immediately. Send him to News Nation, next star, where his jokes belong with the other failures. Ratings crashing, people begging for it to stop. Fox, do the right thing, or I will make the FCC take care of you. Final warning, GCN. Seriously, imagine that was being posted to you like it's being thrown at us. And although the underlying message right there will go right over the head of most Trump supporters, some on the right are smart enough to realize that this is un-American and it could boomerang right back in their faces someday.
I do have an issue with some of the statements made by Brendan Carr, because if there were an FCC commissioner on the other side of the political spectrum, from someone maybe on this network, and they didn't like their speech, would they put pressure on, some of some of the advertisers? Yep. And, if someone from Fox moved on to Fox Broadcast, to some of the owned and operated stations there, that's the part of this that I do not like.
And Kennedy isn't the only one at Fox News capable of zooming out and seeing the slippery slope that this creates.
I do have a lot of personal reasons why maybe you would think I would be cheering this, but I'm not. I mean, I've long said I think the FCC has an undue influence on speech, and having the head of the FCC say on a podcast that this should be shut down, that's an arm of the federal government saying we can do this the easy way or the hard way, bothers me.
And the last voice from the right that I'm going to play for you is Adam Carolla, who has definitely and unfortunately been leaning to the right in recent years. But Adam's got a unique perspective on the Kimmel suspension because he and Jimmy have actually been real-life friends for most of their adult lives. Those guys actually met when they were both interns at a radio station long before anybody knew who they'd go on to be.
I don't think he should have been fired it's a weird thing. The right and the left are always sort of misinterpreting things. I don't like the government getting involved, and I've heard every side of the story. And in general, I just want people to speak, and then the ratings will do the talking, and you can support them or not support them.
Yeah, Adam makes a great point, and I don't just say that because it's the exact same point I've been making for years. We do not need the government or the FCC to censor the media. The free market will do that for us. If somebody draws an audience and can run a business based on them, then let them speak. But if the audience rejects you, if they don't find you funny or clever or whatever, then that's all the censorship that we need. That person will go away. But Trump is hell-bent on putting his thumb on the scale and telling you what is okay and not the other way around. It's completely un-American, and until we can win the midterm elections next year and stop this reign of authoritarian terror, we've got no other option but to get vocal. So please comment below with your thoughts. I would like to hear from you. From the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve podcast, I'm Steve Harness for Really American Media.